Hello, hello. It's Amy from Seriously Sweet on Davis Street. How are you fine folks this evening? Let me take this off. Hi, how is everybody? If you're on the East Coast, it's a little bit after 9 o'clock. I just finished up a little bit ago with my local Seriously Sweet Cookie Rookie group. So much fun, you guys. We did 4th of July themed cookies tonight. And earlier, before I went into that virtual class, I posted a sneak peek of some really cool things that we're going to be doing using either fondant or modeling chocolate, depending on what you want to use, with our Tiki Hot series. So I thought I'd come on just for a couple of minutes. You know, it's Saturday night. If you are home and you want to watch a quick cookie decorating video, I'm just going to show you some pieces that you could possibly use to make our series a little fancier. You're going to be able to use these on a lot of things. So let me say hi to a few people. Hi, Jay. How are you doing? How are you? Tell Miss D I said hello to, please. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Bev. How are you doing tonight? And Jen is here. Good. Jen, drop a link in for our group. We're at 451 people, so we need 49 more before I can do a giveaway. And Becky is here tonight. Hello. And let's see, Julie. Hello, hello. And let's see, did I get Becky? This is a different Becky here. This is Becky Norton. And then Trisha made it over. And Emma is here with us. Hello this evening. Hi, Barbie. How are you? Mary Lynn Forrest is here. Oh, you did some hibiscus cookies today. That was the first cookie that we released in our Tiki Hot Summer Series. So much fun on Tuesday, Tutorial Tuesday. So after the live feed is over, if you're on the Facebook side of things, this link will be a live link. You can go in and join our free group where we talk about all things cookie. So much fun. Hey, Terry. Hi, Monica. How are you this evening? So we are doing this fabulous summer series called Tiki Hot, and it is going to be on Tuesdays. Hi, Maria. How are you doing tonight? It's on Tuesday, and on Tuesday I do 2 live streams. I do 2-part tutorials. The first one is at noon, usually lasts about 45 minutes. The second one is at 7 p.m. Hey, Robin, I'm glad you made it to join us tonight. How are you? You guys, if you don't mind, if you're watching live, drop a comment over on the side. Just say hello. Maybe tell me what country or state you're watching from. And if you're in a place where you can have a reaction to the video, give us a like or a love. It always helps to get the video out to more people faster. Look, Jennifer has been experimenting with the dried raspberry fruit powder from Rubber Chef, and she did royal icing with it, and the experiment went well. That's fabulous. Hello, Facebook user that is just waking up from a nap. I wish I had had a nice nap today. It's been a long Saturday. In fact, it's been such a long Saturday that earlier this evening, I couldn't remember what day it was, which is so silly because I was teaching in my virtual local group, and that class always is Saturday night, either the 3rd or 4th weekend of the month. So funny. Oh, you're putting berry hibiscus in your dough for these cookies. That's going to be so much fun. There's even one in the series, you guys, that is going to be, you could make it a coconut flavored cookie. And we're going to do some special things on the coconut in the cookie that's in this series. How fun. Hey, Joanne. Hello, hello. What do you know? And what's up from PA? How are you tonight? Jennifer, just eat the icing, give in. Okay, guys, lots of good stuff in the group with deals over the weekend. And I also put some cutters in there from a new cutter box that Judy Pacina turned me on to. Oh my gosh, we're going to have that in a totally separate video and do a product reveal. And I also asked the owner of that company if they wanted to come on and talk to you about their product and that subscription box in particular, because for cookiers, oh my gosh, what a deal. Couldn't believe it. But I showed you a picture earlier in the group Jennifer is enabler number 2. I still think I'm going to hold the rank on that for a while because I get a lot of notices and updates and I try to pass them on. It's totally up to you to be the adult in your life and decide whether you want to purchase or not. All right. So look, guys, I got a chance. My cutters arrived from Dots and Bows. This is let me see if I can, give me just a second. I'm going to switch over here and I'm going to take the zoom off just a little bit. This is the Tiki statue that's in our set. Can you guys see how big he is? I have very large hands, but can you see that he's almost the size of my hand? So this is going to be so cute if you are doing luau or Hawaiian themed cookies over the summer. If you're doing a Hawaiian themed wedding, I think, let's see how tall he is. I should remember this, but it's late in the day, so I don't want to misspeak. But he's 6 inches tall, and at his widest point, he is 3 and just slightly over 3.5. I'll say a smidge because that's a very technical baking term that we all know. He's a smidge over 3.5 inches wide. So he's going to be so fantastic. Hey, how are you guys doing? Carrie is here. Carrie is the one that set the cutters up for me. Carrie, I love them. Every single cutter, even the huge plaque cutters. They did these cookies perfectly today. They're beautiful. I didn't have any trouble getting my dough out. You did awesome, fantastic job for us. Thank you again so much. Jen, if you are on, or Carrie, if you want to drop the link in for me for the set, I'm going to explain this to you guys so you understand, because you might not want to do all the cookies. So Dots and Bows made, hey, Amy, how are you? Did the cutters for us. Ladies, okay, we don't judge. So yeah, we don't judge here. This is all cookie friendly. Dots and Bows set up the cutters for me of the designs I made for the Tiki Hot Summer Series. So on the Dots and Bows page, you can order the cutters. Now, I kind of headed everybody over there and said, buy the sets or buy the set of STL files, because you got a discount if you got them all. And the Tiki Hot series is set up to be the next 7 or 8 weeks of our decorating on Tutorial Tuesday. So I kind of just wanted you to get everything all at once, coming from the same place to cut down on your shipping costs. So basically this whole series, you're going to be using all the same supplies. The cutters all came from one place, and I'll give you alternatives to other cutters you can use, but the cutters from Dots and Bows are specifically the designs that I created. So they all go together. They're sized together to make a cool set. But this dude, he's so awesome. And if you bake him with one of the lollipop sticks in him, or actually he's so big, I'd bake him with 2. But if you bake it with the stick in, he's going to be such a cool cake topper. How fun is he going to be? And on Tuesday, we're going to be doing one of the easier cutters on this next Tuesday, because on Tuesday, I'm going to give you your supply list a week ahead of time as we go forward, because you're going to be able to make these cookies so incredibly detailed by adding some beautiful fondant. Look at him. Look at you guys, from using a fondant mold that I already have, a feather fondant mold. What if you want to get super fancy with this dude? Oops, let's do this. My dude, my Tiki dude. I love my Tiki dude. He's so cute. You could make these fondant bits or white modeling chocolate bits and really fancy up his headdress, because look at him. He's so cool. Oh my God, I love him. I don't know what we're going to name him yet. I might let you guys name him, but look at that for the top of his headdress from doing these pieces. So I put a picture up earlier. Carrie, thank you for dropping the link in. Let me show this. So this will be live on Facebook later. It'll take you right to it. I should go back and finish that thought. And I'll just warn you, it's late and I've been up a long time today because it's Saturday in the shop and it's busy. So here's what we did. Over on the Dots and Bows site, they have it set up where you can buy all of the cutters as a set, or all the STL files if you can print your own cutters as a set. But you get a discount if you buy the set. Plus, they gave us a discount code of an additional 10% off. It's SS Class, CLASS 10. That'll get you an extra 10% off. So I kind of steered everybody towards the sets because I know what we're doing the next 8 weeks. However, you can do the little drop down box when you go to order, and you could just pick out individual ones if you want. So if you mainly do cakes, you don't do cookies, and so you just want to do the 3 big plaque cutters with me, you can do the 3 big plaque cutters, no problem, okay? So there's several ways to get it, but this is the discount code. They were so generous to give us this code, and we appreciate it so much. So get your STL files if you can print your own cutters, order the cutters. Mine came right away, and I always worry when I make these super big plaques because I worry about the cutters not being strong enough, but these were perfect. I had no trouble with any of them. But tonight, and we are not doing the little tiki man this week. He's not the cutter for this week, but I just want you to see him because I'm starting to work on the bits and pieces. Does he look like a Ralph, Bev? Seriously, you want to name him Ralph? I was thinking you guys would come up with like some super cool Hawaiian name for him. Ralph is fancy. Okay, that's so funny. So you guys can start a little commentary over there and maybe name this guy for me when we get to him. But what I wanted to show you was how easy it is to level up your cookie with these additional bits. So isn't this nice? Let me show you what this came from real quick. I'll be posting all of these links. You certainly don't have to do him. I'm also going to show you how to do his headdress to have a wood grain look. If you don't want to do any fondant molds, I just personally am totally enamored right now with multi-medium cookies where I can mix media on a cookie and just get that extra zing that I really want, especially if I'm going to take a cookie and turn it into a cake topper, right? If it's someone's wedding, I love that moment when people see a super fancy cookie like that and go, how'd they make that? Is that really a cookie? What is that? That can't be a cookie. That's just fun. There's some 3D pieces that we have on display in the store. And when people see them, they're like, that can't be a cookie. There's no way. Like when we did the fireplace cookie, they're like, seriously, they'd stare at it and be like, how did you make that? And one of the reasons you can get the cookies leveled up and fancy is with using these fondant molds. I happen to have a ton of these things because I have done cakes and cupcakes for years. So I just happen to have a lot of these. I did try to narrow it down a little bit for you, but I'm just going to tell you what all the things are and give you the supply list, and then you guys will be able to decide which ones you want to do. Okay, so I do see one really good question over here, so I want you to see this because this is a big deal. So I prefer to use modeling chocolate because I love modeling chocolate on cookies or cakes or cupcake toppers, or pouring actual chocolate in these molds. However, it's just too hot where I live right now. There's only about 6 months out of the year where I can use modeling chocolate instead of fondant for things like this. So I prefer to make the small batch fondant that you make with marshmallows because that actually tastes very good. It tastes like candy. And y'all know I love candy on my cookies and on my cakes. So I prefer to do that. There's some really good videos on YouTube if you search for small batch marshmallow fondant. It's super easy to make it. It tastes great. And yes, you can also use edible clay, but on this, I kind of like it to be more pliable. If you want to make them right before, oh, you got booted off your back though, right? Okay, I don't think that was me because I don't think we've lost stream on this end. But anyway, this is a mold that I have that I use frequently to make the feathers for dream catchers. Like if I have to do a dream catcher on a cake. So size-wise, you guys, the overall fondant mold is 4 inches. The feathers, the largest feather is this great big guy, which is a 3-inch. So between using all of these feathers, I just did this with a little Tylose powder in my fondant to get it good and hard. These are the pieces I picked out because my thought was I would have this. I kind of have 2 that go that way, this way. When I attach this to the cookie, when the royal icing is wet, I'm going to have his headdress for the tiki guy be kind of laid out like this, right? Hello, Stacy. How are you? And let's see. Allison says she likes Michelle's delicious fondant. Allison, if you want to drop a link in for that, just let people try it. And let's see. Jen got the cutter set with the discount code. It's just over 36 with the shipping, and that was for everything. And there's 7 cutters in the set, right? And let's see, Becky Norton makes marshmallow fondant. If there's a link or she sells that recipe, you guys drop that in there. I'm happy for y'all to share. Hey, Heather, it's so good to see you tonight. So anyway, what I was going to do is just show you a few things that how I start to color these, because I generally make all of my pieces. Now I say generally, there's times where I do something like this, but I'm going to tell you why I don't prefer to do this where I dye the fondant ahead of time. I prefer to do this because I can get better shading and things like that. So I like to do it in white. This is a marshmallow fondant, a little bit of Tylose powder because I want it to get good and hard, because when I make this cool tiki man, we're not making him tonight. I'm just going to show you a little bit about shading. But when we make him, I want these pieces to come way up off the cookie. Like the cookie's 6 inches, but once this is an actual cake topper and we go to put it, I really want this guy to be like 7.5, 8 inches on top of an upper level Hawaiian or luau themed cake. How fun would this be? Even as a centerpiece, you guys, if you used one of the floral blocks and covered it with some like press and seal, and then you had him done on your lollipop sticks and popped him down in there, and then you could put a fancy dish towel or tea towel or something with the Hawaiian theme and then lay your cookies out on that for your summer parties. Can't you just be like, can't you just see everybody coming over the table to grab your cool cookies? Hey, Sherry, my sister made it. Hello. How are you tonight? So nice to see you. And my hands do move. I talk with my hands so much. So funny. That's so funny. So let's see, Allison on the Facebook page, she dropped this in. So it'll be a live link on the Facebook page. Okay. So anyway, I want this to be like just super over the top, leveled up cookie. As much as I can put on here is what we're going to put on here when we do him. So this little guy is actually going to have some little wafer paper bits. Hey, Sally, you made it. So it'll have some wafer paper bits. It's going to have these cool feathers. Look at this great bamboo, the bamboo grass. And I did put gloves on because earlier when I was coloring, I realized I was already like covered in dusting and coloring. But you see what you can do with these? Do you see all that dimension I got in those leaves by doing? And you can pipe these, you guys. It is possible to pipe these. You can even do a little piping and then do some sculpting. But if you want it to move faster when you're actually assembling the cookie, this is a great way to go. And this is also something that you can control more. And when you use these pieces, they can come off the cookie, whereas piping obviously would have to stay right on top of the cookie. So I can make my cookie bigger and more outlandish, which I just absolutely love. So do you see this is shaded? This is all done. It's white fondant. So it's all done with dry dust. And we're going to be using the same coloring throughout the entire series. So when you start getting your supply list week to week, the supply lists, they're going to have a lot of the same things repeated, okay? Oh no, Sally, did you try to sculpt right on a cookie, like do your fondant on there and then sculpting? So see, this is the other thing. I know that I have a lot of beginners and intermediate level people that follow me, and I want you to have another way that you can control what you're making as you're learning how to do the sculpting directly on the cookies, because I don't want you to be disappointed that you can't get the level of detail. So there's a couple schools of thought on using the fondant molds. Some people are like, hey, cool, you can get more detail. This is fabulous. Rock it out. Let's do it. And other people are like, well, that's cheating because it's not actually royal icing. I personally am in love with multi-medium cookies and being able to use many different sources of edible medium on the cookie. So I like to mix the wafer paper. I like to do the royal icing sculpting. I like to use the fondant molds with the white chocolate. Glaze is great if you want to do impression patterns. You know, I think that you can have any school of thought that you want, but you have to allow people to have good expression of their creative juices, right? So it's fine that I like all that. Maybe you don't. That's cool with me. No judgment here. If you want to stick strictly in royal icing, you go for that. I just really love the extra bang for your buck you can get when you add in these additional pieces. I love it. And I love mixing these things to really push a cookie to the edge, right? It's so much fun. Jen. So Jen is saying wafer paper. So I'm actually going to be using, if you've been following me, I've been live streaming for about the last 5 months. So if you followed any of those, you're already going to have the punch that we're going to use. It's just one punch because I just wanted to work in just a smidge of wafer paper to talk to you about that. And let's see. Oh, and you did a transfer, Sally, and it was a bust. Okay, we'll keep practicing because you make gorgeous cookies. Hey, Miss Julie, how are you? Oh my gosh, Bev. Okay, so we will do a little of this on one of the Tuesdays, but if you want to get a jump start on this, I love watching. Hold on, I'll tell you exactly who it is if you guys will bear with me. Let's see. Let me get on Instagram. There's going to be a lot of reels on this girl's site, lady's site. And it's called, I talked about her in a couple of my previous live streams, but go follow Maya on Painted Ladies Pastry. She does a lot of sculpting with royal icing. It's similar to what Timbo does with the Timbo cake sculpting and fondant, but she's doing it in royal icing. You can learn a lot and combine those two things. So much fun. But we're going to level up these cookies, and they can be cookies for you. You can use them as cake toppers. You can use them as stylized desserts. They can be for weddings, whatever you want to do. Okay. So, wait, she's saying all this. This is funny. She's saying all this like we haven't already noticed. She owns every sprinkle made on the wall of sprinkles. Well, you guys just please try to remember, I really use all that because I have a working bakery. So I make a ton of cupcakes and I do a lot of special stylized cakes and things for weddings. So it's not just like a pretty wall. I actually do use all those things. Okay. How are you tonight? It's so good to see all of you on here. So why don't we do a little shading? I'm not going to turn these sideways because I already have the lids off and prepped because I didn't want to take too long with all of this. And of course, we've already talked like 20 minutes because y'all are just so much fun. Oh, and this is true too, by the way. If you watch any of the live streams, yes, Painted Lady Pastry, I think is the name. Jen, will you find it on Instagram and drop her link in? It's Maya, but she's got some great reels on there. And of course, you guys don't get discouraged because when you see those reels, they're sped up, right? So it looks like she does it really fast. It does not happen that fast. When you get time, play with that technique because it's like you're sculpting the 30-second icing, right? The toothpaste consistent icing using fondant tools, but it's so much fun. Once you start practicing with it, then you're going to realize all the different areas you can use it in. And these leaves in particular, you could easily sculpt them if you wanted to, okay? You totally could sculpt them. Let me just flip down through here. And then I'm going to start shading. If I miss a question, I'll come back to you. It's not important where these brushes came from. It's just important that you have a general wide tip brush and a super fine tip brush. Okay. Now, this is great. You're going to love it. You cannot make a mistake with this. Okay. And let me show you why this is so much fun. So let's go here. I molded these leaves. This is in the video from the other night with, let me pop this up here so it'll be in the Facebook link later. You see that? But check her out. I love her stuff. So much fun to watch her sculpt fondant. There's something very relaxing about it. So these are from the Killer Zebra product box reveal that I did the other day, the little palm tree. They're the perfect size because we're going to be adding them to the cookie, not necessarily flat like this, because we can royal icing some of these palm leaves flat, right? So these are going to be pieces we can put in at an angle, tilted sideways. If the fondant is still pliable, we can mold them so that we can make them go in and then turn a little. So those are things you can think about. So I went ahead and dyed this with just food gel color before to get this dark color. And when I do them for the cookies, I'll be making them a much lighter shade because I want to shade them using my dry dust and the painting. Okay. So watch this real quick, just for fun. These I went back and shaded. So let me show you what they look like next to one that's not. I'll lift them up into the camera. So can you see that these have already all been shaded using 3 different colors, and then that's just the basic one. So my shading would have turned up even more had I done a lighter green as my base, okay? So here we go. I'm just gonna show these comments real quick. Do you prefer gel or fondant for coloring your fondant? Now, when I color my fondant, I prefer to use the gel. Okay. And then I also add just a little bit of Tylose powder if I want them to get good and firm so that I can put them in at an angle and make them stand up. Okay, so let's do these really quick. I'm going to show you going over the white, and then I'm going to show you going over the green. So this is one of the feathers for the top of my headdress for my Tiki man. See? And you can tell it's on white. All right, so this is how I start with this. There's a lot of ways to do this. You don't have to do it my way. My way is not perfect. My way is not the only way. My way is just the way I like to do it. It's fun. I'm always learning new things, though. I think when you teach, you should spend a lot of time learning as well. It's like a doctor. Doctors practice medicine. Well, they're practicing because they're always learning and things are always changing. And I don't think you should take for granted just because you're in the cookie world or the pastry world that things are always the same. People are really going outside the box and coming up with some really cool techniques and ways to accomplish things. Sometimes they have really fast shortcut ways so you can do things for in a store. Sometimes they have things like this. Like you guys have been great to allow me to unleash the super detailed part of my creativity because I get a lot of making lots of cookies really fast for the store for custom orders. So that's a whole different ball of wax than, say, this little Tiki man. Isn't he cute? Oh, I love it. So make sure you get your cutters. Make sure you look at last Tuesday's videos where we started. The first flower in our set was our hibiscus. The supply list is in there. It's so funny. Let's see. All right, so let's start with the feathers. Now, I like to start in the down low in the crevices so that I'll have some dark shading, and I like to start with the darkest color that I'm going to use, okay? So in this case, I'm going to be using Turkish black, dry dusting it on all the way down in the crevices. And I'm going to show you a couple of things with this. And I'm using my fine point brush because I don't want it all over the feather. I want to just take a little bit and I want to get it right in these areas. All right, so I'm pulling it out of here. I'll put a little on there. Do you see that I'm not even taking my time really to make it look like anything particular because I'm shading, right? So down at the bottom, I'm going to want it a little darker. And around the vein in the center of the feather, I want that a little darker. I want one side a little darker. But seriously, guys, you can't mess this up. If you do too much, I'm going to show you how to take it back off. Now, you can dry dust and that be the end of it, but I'm going to show you how to dry dust and then use a little Everclear to blend all of your colors together so it looks a little more natural, okay? So same brush. I'm going to, and that's it. That's all I'm putting on in the Turkish black. Then I'm going to go to this beautiful holly. Can you see that color? That is so palm tree looking. This is the elite color from Sugar Art called Holly. And I'm going to grab a little bit of that out. Can you see how much is on the tip of that brush there? Can you see that? Let me get it on the white paper towel. See that? All right, I'm going to just put it on the paper towel, knock a little off. You can, of course, be doing this on a paint palette if you want. You don't have to be doing it right on the paper towel. I just have been videoing a lot today and teaching. And so I'm going to want to take this paper towel and just go throw it out because I will be visiting the Sandman for some sleep as soon as we finish this little video tonight. I just hated that I didn't get to video with you last night, but I had so much going on at the store today. It just took a little longer last night. And I like to visit you guys on Friday or Saturday nights. So do you see now we've got 2 colors going on here? We've got our green and our black mixed together, but you're still seeing plenty of the white because that white's going to read through as a highlight under the lighter colors. So let's just knock a little bit of that off. Love this color for so many things throughout the entire year. Dollar Eucalyptus. Can you see that? It's one of the elite colors from Sugar Art. This one is this beautiful, oh my gosh, I've used this for everything all year long, but it's a great green for a highlight color. So let's come in here. We'll take a little bit of it. You can see the camera's doing really good for me tonight. Now let's just give some highlight areas. We're not covering the whole feather. Okay, we're just dry dusting a little bit in here. Now look, if you don't want to risk getting the other color into the color, then take some of this out and work on a plate or a paint palette if you're really worried about it. I'm not worried about it. I get my brushes good and clean from going from color to color. I know when they're too messed up to go to the next color, but if it bothers you, just pull that out. Now take a look. Do you see what we just did? So we got 3 colors going. This feather's looking really cool, right? It is a very light green. It's a good highlight. Now let's switch over. Love this color. It does great stone fireplaces. This is what I used on my Christmas fireplace. This is called dogwood, and it's like a little tan color. Isn't that pretty? I love this. You can also, guys, if you just bought the Bakel dust, not the Tinker dust, which is glitterized, but if you just bought the luster dust, you can use any of those. Just get a black, get 2 shades of green, and get a very light brown. You don't have to order new Master Elite. This is just something I use frequently when I do dry dusting or if I want to antique something. And you see what I'm doing? I'm just adding a little in here. Now, honestly, this is quite beautiful the way it is. If you want super muted, you could certainly leave it just like this. Now, the kicker and the thing that sets this off is something you probably would not expect. Okay. This is Daisy, Elite color from Sugar Art. Okay. This is so cool if you're going to go back and do a little bit of airbrushing. So I'm just going to put a little bit on there. Okay. Maybe a little bit more. Now let's go in here just randomly throughout the feather. Let's add a little bit. And you would think this would totally mess up the whole scheme you have going, but it actually is the thing that really makes this vibrant. So we're going to add that. Okay. Now, if you want to stay really muted, natural looking tones, look, you're done. You have a beautiful feather. If you want, if you've lightened up your veining too much, just take that fine tip brush and put a little more black in there. And then take your thicker brush and just knock some of that back off. Like if it got too bright for you, you can keep muting it. So see how beautiful that is? But let's go next level, because why not? Saturday night, let's have a little fun. Do you see what this one looks like? So what do you see? I did it the exact same way, but watch what happens. When I take my large brush, I have a little bowl of Everclear off to the side. I'm just getting this damp. It's not wet, it's damp. So I've blotted it off. Okay. Watch this. Now, I like to use Everclear, not water. There is a reason. The Everclear evaporates super fast, so my fondant never has a chance to get tacky. I tried doing the same thing with water on marshmallow fondant, and it doesn't matter how dry I get the brush after I get the brush damp, it gets goopy, like sticky feeling, and it doesn't really ever set up right, okay? So, watch this. This makes everything go perfect shading. This little bit of Everclear. Can you see that? Can you see how dark it just got? Watch. And it blends all the colors I put on here together. So now you have a super natural looking leaf. Look at that. Isn't that amazing what just happened to that? Can you see the detail in that though? How beautiful is his little Tiki Man's headdress going to be? Now, if it got too light for you, I personally think these look fantastic together because they should look slightly different when you go to add them to the Tiki Man. They should be slightly different. You don't want them exactly the same. Okay. Also, make sure you take a little time to do these sides because you don't want that to be bright white. You never want to miss that little detail, right? You see on the side right there? You don't want to miss that little detail and not have enough of the color on there when you attach this. You don't want those blaring white bits of fondant showing. So always check your upper edge. Look, and I'm being rough with this thing, you guys. Rough. It's not breaking. Nothing's happening to it. That Everclear evaporated immediately. And look at how cool that is. Can you see? Love it. I hope you guys are loving this. So let me show you one other thing, though. There was something I wanted to tell you about this. Oh, also, once you've added the Everclear, If you just feel like you've lost a little bit too much of the dark color, just take your brush, damp, pick up the tiniest little bit of black and just go up against those ridges in this cookie thing. And this will be on your supply list. We're not going to use it this week, but it's going to be on your supply list this week. So you'll have it in time for next week in case you want to start playing with this. And so will the mold from Michael's. Michael's will be the quickest place for most of you to get it. You know, a couple of months ago, I did those cool dogwood cookies and I used a mold that they used for cakes. And so Sally redid the dogwood cookies and did a cool blog about them. And it was just eye-opening because it was a new way to look at something that's supposed to be used for another purpose, to bring it back and use bits of it to make something beautiful for a cookie, right? So I guess I'm always saying to you guys, take a look at stuff and find out a different way to use it. And for me, the reason that started happening, thank you guys. Look, you love it and it's gorgeous. Dangarang. I like that. Jennifer, you have the best sayings. And Bev is going, ooh, love it. And Barbie's saying magic. Sally says, so cool. So let's come back here. So anyway, I always just want you to look at what you already have and see what you can do with it. You might have a better feather mold than what I have. I just like this one. I've used it for a long time to do the dream catchers on cakes, but how cool is that? So do you see just that little bit of shading and doing white? So I'll be finishing all these out and doing his headdress. Now, I know you're not going to believe this, but I'm not going to add a lot of glitter to this cookie on the flowers and the headdresses, but we are going to add some edible glitter because what would the set be without some edible glitter? We must have it, right? But I'm not going to do it on the feathers because I really want his headdress to look a little different. All right. So don't get upset when I don't immediately throw Tinker Dust and Diamond Dust on these. Okay. So I just want you to see. Let's see. I don't have a fever. I'm just going for that more natural wood look because it's all tiki themed. But I promise you, we're going to use all of that stuff on the hibiscus and plumeria flowers and their foliage. But on the palm leaf and the feathers and the things like that for the tiki guy and the tiki signs, we're going to not throw all the glitter on those pieces. So we're going to pick where we put the glitter. So, well, not less glitter. I'm not going to commit to less glitter, Jennifer. I'm just saying we're going to use it in specified places, okay? And really, is his name going to be Ralph? I feel like I want to call him Ralph, but I want to see if can you give him, like, you know how in horse races for the Kentucky Derby, the horse, like Secretariat's name that everybody that loved him called him was Big Red, but his official name was Secretariat. We could call him Ralph as a personal thing, like we love him, but can you guys find him a real tiki name too? And Allison, honestly, we're going to use glitter, but we're going to put it on the flowers and their foliage, not the wood pieces. This is hilarious. See, I know I have a reputation for the glitter, the wafer paper, the multiple mediums on the cookie. Did I say less glitter? I didn't mean to say less glitter. I meant to say particular places we're going to be using glitter. That's so funny. You guys are hilarious tonight. Kona. Oh, I like Kona. Does that have a special meaning, Monica? Somebody tell me Ralph wanna sparkle. Okay, that's kind of cool, Bev. All right, so you guys work on that. You have a couple days to come up with that. Let's do some of these bamboo shoot pieces because on our Tiki Man or on our foliage signs, these are great additional leaves to add along with the royal icing transfers that I taught you how to make on Tuesday, right? So let's do a few more of these things. All right, and I hope everyone has had a fun week. Things are, people are trying to get back to normal as much as possible, I guess. I don't know. I don't really know what they're doing around here. It's shocking to me still, but I know everyone wants to be normal. I don't know if we have a normal anymore, but you know, whatever it is, it's fun to see people getting out and about, right? Okay, so let's start here. Thin brush. Now, if someone's going to ask me, so this one did come from Truly Mad Plastics. This is the over 0. However, it's not important that this is a truly matte plastic brush for what we're doing. What's important is that it is this super fine tip. Can you guys see that? See that super fine tip? That's what's important, okay? Oh yeah, these would totally rock out for hula dancers. Let me put that comment up. If you did a hula cookie, these would be fabulous for the skirt because in the mold, you can make them as a 3-piece or a 2-piece. Can you see that? And then you could make a whole bunch of these to make singles to cover up the overlap. But what a pretty skirt that would be too, right? Love that. Yeah, there's no normal anymore. I don't even know what that is. And honestly, I've never been normal my whole life, so I can't comment. So let's go back and do a few leaves. So we're going to start out with all those same colors that we just used. We're going to start out first with some Turkish black. It's sugar art. I'm going to get down in the crevices because I want that color. And I'm just dry dusting right now. I haven't added any Everclear yet. I'm simply dry dusting some of this black down in the crevices of the leaves. You see? All right, we'll do one for tonight and then I'll let you guys go, okay? So I'm doing that and then I'm jumping over to my holly, also by Sugar Art, and I'm catching the left-hand side of the leaf because I'm imagining that my light is coming in from the right. So my lighter green is going to go on the right side. So you see what I'm doing here? That's just dry dust. I'm going in the sides to make sure I've got color on the sides so that I don't get it on the cookie and then realize I have a blaring white spot. Do you see what I mean? Like when you're working and you're giving dimension to the cookie, you have to account for all of the areas where you made that come up off the cookie when you're doing coloring. So do you see I'm just dry dusting straight on there? I think that was in frame. Darker color on the left. I've got that darker dry dusting in the center there. Don't blow on this. If you want to keep your airbrush handy, clean. Let me see. Hold on. Oh, look. Bev just said Ralph can be the Hawaiian god of sparkle. Okay, I love that. That's funny. Okay, so account for both your sides because you've just made it raised off the cookie, so you don't want that blaring color to work. Okay, now Jennifer, I see a comment over here. Somebody must have asked about using the Everclear. Here's my only caution to you. Before, it does have to be high alcohol content, so you can use vodka or Everclear. But I will tell you, having done personal color tests on most of the dry dust that I'm using, I haven't done them all, but I've done quite a few of them. You need to test the vodka and test the Everclear because sometimes vodka turns it to a different color than the Everclear will turn the exact same dry dust to. So test it before you start in on a full series and decide what you want to use. But if you can't get Everclear, the high whatever of the vodka, what am I trying to say? The alcohol content, whatever, the proof, that normally will work. However, I will tell you, especially in greens and blues, the vodka sometimes affects the dry dust differently than the Everclear does. So I've tested this with Everclear because I happen to have Everclear to paint with, but you can test with vodka if you have vodka. So we did a dark line of the Turkish black in the center. We did our holly on the left side of the leaves, our light coming from this way. Now we're going to go pick up some of that dollar eucalyptus and we're going to hit this side. And remember, we're going to hit it with Everclear. So it's okay that it's not fully covered here. Isn't this pretty? Look at that. I just love doing this stuff, you guys. It's so much fun. I love it. So it's very light. We're just going to brush that out where we got a little down in that crevice because when we hit it with the Everclear, we don't want too much of that. The light color, we don't want too much of that because it'll go right back down to the white of the fondant. So can you guys see that okay? All right, now remember, I'm going to just come back and add a smidge of this yellow for highlight on this side of both the leaves, like the light's hitting it. I don't need a lot, just a little. You don't need a whole lot. All right, and then I'm grabbing a little bit of dogwood. Do you see the dogwood here? Because I just want a little bit of that sandiness to my color, right? That green and that taupe together make a beautiful color. Now, again, you could stop right here if you just want to dry dust. This is really pretty, but this is the same thing I did here and then hit it with my wider brush dampened with Everclear. And watch what happens. Watch. I'm going to try from top to bottom so you can see how quickly it changes it. Can you see that? Watch what happens and see how the colors blend. Literally leaf to leaf. Can you see what's happening here? Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And so you have this highly detailed. If you have, oh, Bev, did something happen to your table with the Everclear? Oh boy. So do you see what happens? And see how that yellow, you can't tell it's yellow anymore, but it's under there. So you have that fabulous highlight. Now remember, you guys, thank you, Kathy. Remember, if you feel like it lightens up too much once you add that Everclear, go back and grab a little of that Turkish black and put it down in the crevice while you've got a little Everclear still in there. And you can get a little more shadow if you want it. That's going to be personal preference. But also remember, as you're doing each of these, to take into account the sides and maybe just buff a little dry color. Now, do you see how I'm handling this? It's not sticky at all because I'm using the Everclear and the Everclear has already evaporated, okay? So I'm just making sure that I have highlight on the side, but not bright white, okay? So do you see what this is going to be like? And they're all, both of these, I love it. I've even managed to get a little texture on there. Do you see how these are different? So you put them together, what that's going to look like, how beautiful that's going to be. And because they're like this, not on this cookie, I don't want to get up to grab the big plaque cookie, but do you see by doing this, how far off the cookie we can come? Isn't that cool? So we can add so much more to these display pieces with these little bits. And you can see how far we're going to be able to come off the top of the tiki if we do feathers. I'm also going to show you how to pipe that with a wood grain. But again, you know, part of this is not just that it makes it so fabulous in 3D and you get to do this extra painting and it's fun. Part of it is that you get this super, super detailed look that you can prep ahead of time. So if you are doing someone's wedding and you're doing their cake and you're doing their cupcakes and you're doing their cake pops and you're doing their cookies and maybe you're doing their brownie treats, these things have to be done ahead of time, like your cake toppers and stuff. You can do all of this ahead of time and spend as much time as you want to make this absolutely a gorgeous centerpiece for them. But it is really difficult to get engaged enough with a project to do this level of detail if you're doing it in the midnight hour the day before. So this, when a project becomes too stressful, then it's no longer fun and you just don't put in all the levels of detail that you could normally, right? So Tiki Ralph Kona, is that what we named him? I don't know. But anyway, so when we get to him, some of these pieces will be used on him, but these same pieces, like this, is going to be used on two other pieces. Earlier, I showed you some of the other bits. Look at this from an old mold that I had a couple years ago where I did a kid's pirate birthday. So we had the parrots. So we're going to paint these parrots and add them to two of the signs because, you know, I have it. So why not? You don't have to use a parrot, but I have the parrot and he fits with the tropical theme and I thought he'd be a lot of fun. So we'll be doing that. Now, the other mold that came from Michael's, I'll show it to you tomorrow or Monday so you can actually see it. But it had this other mold that was like florals and bits like this. But I bought it because it was so cool looking. I thought I have to find something to do with that, right? Let me show you these pieces. Let me show you like one of each. So I bought it because I had that 40% off coupon, but can you see these? Can you see the level of detail on this? I didn't know what I was going to use it for because it's not my normal style because they look very hand carved woodish, I guess. Is that a word? I don't know. But they have that very, very like wood hand carving statue look to them. And I was like, what on earth am I going to use that for? That doesn't look anything like my cookie style, right? But look at these pieces. If you make one of each of the pieces that's in that mold, then you've basically got all the extra little flourishes. Let's see if we can lift that if you can see the detail. You've got all the extra little flourishes. You can see the detail in these really good in the picture I posted earlier, for a perfect wood theme set and how perfect chiseled. Yes, that's the word, Sharon, chiseled. So it's perfect, these pieces from that mold. Now, I'm just going to tell you, I don't often do that because I like to buy the things I know I'm going to use. However, when I went to pick up that dogwood mold that day to show you, and they had this fondant mold, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to use that for, but just something so struck me about how different it was that I went ahead and got it. Luckily, it's a piece that's still in Michael's. I did check today to make sure they still have it. Okay, but let me just share this with you when you see the mold. Look at that. Doesn't that just look like a hand-carved, chiseled piece? And look how cool this would be to do his little chin piece with, the little tiki man, right? Or if you want to make smaller versions of your tiki cookie, look at what that looks like for his headdress once that's painted. Isn't that cool? So again, just wanted to reiterate to you guys, really look at these pieces when you're looking at things for cakes or cupcakes. It looks like it was made to be the headdress, but it's not. It's a wooden, it's supposed to look like wooden flowers, but we're going to use it for the whole tiki series because it's primo perfect. And then look at this little piece that's in there. How cool is that going to be to work in above some of the Tiki Man features? Now, one day I was in a store, I don't remember which store, and it's been a while, but they had an ice cube mold and it had 6 tiki heads in it. I think it's still on Amazon. I'm going to try to find it for you. But look at these tiki heads. And that is from an ice cube mold. So check out the silicone ice cube molds. You're going to find some cool stuff there, right? So look, this guy, if you really don't want to do the piping, these are perfectly sized if you can find this mold still. And I'm going to try to find you the link. But any of the 6 faces, you can do 6 of these cookies and they can all be different. And you don't even have to do the royal icing because you can slip this on there. Then you've also got some dimension, right? Because it's popping off the cookie. You can hand paint this. Like, look at what you can do way ahead of time. Isn't that beautiful? So try to not get all judgy on me that everything on my cookie is not strictly royal icing, because that's sort of not my thing. My thing is really to, I don't want to say throw a lot at a cookie, but it is my thing to really explore items that I already have that I use for cakes and cupcakes and put those on cookies since I already own those items, right? So in looking at this, just look at how cool that setup's going to be, you guys. So I hope this helped. Go ahead and get your vodka, get your Everclear. It does evaporate, so it's perfectly fine to use it. It evaporates. There's no alcohol content to it. Once it evaporates from the cookie, it's safe to paint with. I think you'll really enjoy this if you get into it. Painting color your tongue easier than royal icing. Let's see. Let me see. Sharon, are you asking if it stains as much as royal icing, like dark colors in royal icing? Because this will come off. This will come off just as if it was highly colored royal icing, right? It will. You'll still get stained because this, even if I touch this right now with wet hands, it's going to stain my hands. So think through that too, and where you're going to be using the cookie. But this dude is so big, he's not likely to be eaten as a cookie. He's more likely to be baked on the lollipop sticks and be put down in the cake to be a cake topper, or to be leaned on like the first layer, leaning up on the second layer of the cake to be a centerpiece on the front of a cake. But again, how fancy can you get that cake if you make this guy way ahead of time and you have him ready to rock and roll? Plus our whole series, you guys, that earlier in the series, we've got the cutters up for you. They're on sale if you buy the whole set. Plus you get an additional discount code because they're just cool like that at Dots and Bows. The cutters are going to come quick. It's going to be fabulous summer. I'm really looking forward to it. And let's see. Let's go here. Let's see what this says. How the house make cookie stuff. Yeah, just stay organized because then you can bring it in a lot easier. I know. I don't have any problem with everybody that does straight royal icing. I love that. And I think that's great if that's their thing. But I have just found over the years by trying to work in and use the tools that I already have that I really I got addicted to watching Timbo do fondant sculpting and things like that on cookies. And then I thought, well, if you just use the right fondant and it tastes good, or if you use modeling chocolate in the winter, it's so much fun. like I made that Frankenstein cookie in one of his classes with the big bulging eyeballs and the nasty rotten teeth. I had so much fun. That was it. After that, I was totally hooked and wanted to just keep exploring my options of the things I already owned and how to make those things work. And I can just get such a fancy cookie, right? Okay, so Sharon Dots and Bows, the cutters are listed on the website under the specialty section under Seriously Sweet. If you buy the whole set, they're already discounted. And then we have a further up in the stream, if you go back and look, there's a discount code SS class CLASS 10. You'll get an extra 10% off your purchase. And this past Tuesday's class started our first cookie that's part of this series called Tiki Hot. And we started with the hibiscus. Okay. All right. So if you had a good time tonight, show me a little heart love over there. Maybe share the video, invite SS class 10. It should be SS class 10. And that'll get, yeah, here we go. Let me put this one up. This is the right one, SS class 10. So share the video, maybe invite some of your friends. Maybe they'll never decorate a cookie, but they like to watch food channels and they like to watch things being decorated. And, you know, I'm just sort of entertaining most of the time. So come hang out with us. It's just a lot of fun. Even if you never want to touch a cookie to decorate it, you certainly might want to eat them. So come hang out with us. It was so much fun seeing you tonight. Happy Saturday night. Thank you for joining me. I really enjoyed spending time with you tonight. Thank you to my local cookie group. A lot of you have jumped on here and been on the live tonight as well. So much fun. But y'all have a great weekend, and I will see you either Sunday afternoon or Monday for some mini product reveals, because of course I have to tell you about those Shape-y monthly boxes. Oh my gosh, I can't even believe what comes in those boxes. Let me just flip a few comments up here real quick. Oh, good. Jen just got the set. Okay. Just over 36 with the shipping included. That's cool. Thank you, Becky. Thank you, Julie. Thank all of you that are watching every Tuesday. So much fun. Yes. So Jennifer got the set, which was already discounted, and then put the SS class 10 and got another 10. And you're so welcome that I'm a good enabler, but I don't tell you about things that I haven't bought. So, I don't get any commission on these products. I get a small commission on the Amazon links from the supply list, but any of this other stuff, it's just stuff that I use. I love it. I love their product. They're good companies to order from. I don't tell you about people I've had customer service issues with. I don't even bring them on it. So if you're hearing about a product from me, it's a company that I can really get behind, that I really like. And love this. And Sharon got the monthly. I know I'm going to need a nickname. I'm going to have to come up with something for the enabler. And whoever posted the Elvis, the thank you very much. I can't do a good Elvis, but I love that. It was so funny. Let's see. Allison, while we were on tonight, she was going through her bin to see what she could use for these projects for the summer. So do that, because you might have a better palm leaf. Like I have 2 different palm leaves. Do you see this? And then you see this one? So I'll be mixing these leaves because I think that's just going to be really pretty. And so look, now you've seen what happened to me earlier when the Turkish black, when I took the top off.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you do Elvis? Look, Brian's going to come do Elvis for you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You have to get down in the camera. So my hubby's home tonight.
Thank you very much.
It was Sharon that put it up there. So I don't do Elvis well, but I could hear it in my head when you typed that. So funny. All right. So Allison, post some pictures in the group. Give some people some ideas. I will be posting. Allison says, hey, Brian. I will be posting the links to all the molds. I found most of them. I just have the ice cube tray to track down. And then look at this, you guys. This is in the picture from earlier. But look at how detailed this bamboo is. I've used this before, fondant mold, to do cakes. Look at that. So we're going to be using this on the sign too. So I can't wait for you to see all this. I'll have everything listed for you, and we're going to do some other fun stuff this weekend. But thank you. Thank you. Have a good night. I will see you soon.